Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my rebuild of Larry's Lagoon. Yes, this video is long and yes, the footage is sped up a lot, but I didn't want to do a two-part video. Mainly because I'm unsure of how the editing on the first part would be, because in my videos I like to include footage of how the Sims look in the builds, and I don't know how that would work if it was like an empty shell with nothing in it, so it's just like, you know what? I'll just have a 45-minute video on my channel. Or 48 minutes. 48 minutes and 14 seconds. Anyways, I'm gonna say now that this build is probably one of my favorite builds that I've ever done. I just can't believe I built this. Like, I build houses. I don't even build houses, I renovate houses. But like, anyways, I say anyways a lot. And I'm probably gonna say it a lot because I have 48 minutes of time to fill up with talking, and I have a way I'm going to like divide up the speech a lot, but that'll come as it comes. But I've rebuilt Larry's Lagoon before, and I didn't like how it looked. Like, I was so happy with how it looked when I made it the first time, and then I saw it compared to like the rest of Foxbury campus, and I was like, oh, it's a bit ugly. And it's like, subjectively, it's a good build. It looks fine, but just compared to everything else in the world, it just looks kind of stupid. So I knew I didn't want to put it in my save file for my Let's Play that I'm doing, so I just decided to rebuild it. And I thought it would only take me like an hour to rebuild it, because that's usually how long it takes me to build stuff in this game. But it took me 4 hours. I've been up since 11 p.m. yesterday. It's currently 10:52 a.m. as I am recording this the day before my birthday. Anyways, I don't know why I'm making such a big deal on my birthday, but it's not important. But like, I just love this build. I think it fits the world better than the other one I made, and better than, well, I don't know, because the one that EA made was it was hot garbage, but it did kind of fit in with the world. But I just aesthetically, I like this build that I made way more than the other two. Like the other one that I made and the one that EA built. I just love this build. It has a lot more stuff, so it does get kind of laggy, but that's only when you try to go into build mode. So I tried to make sure I covered all the bases, like everything's usable. You have pretty much everything you'll need, and lot traits already pre-established, so it's like, I think I put study spot and fast internet and science layer, because that makes sense. But then, yeah, so like, you don't have to go into build mode, so it should run fine. But I am running this on a PS4, so I don't know how this will be on PCs or anything. Like, if you have a high-end PC, I'm sure it'll be fine. But like a low-end one or a laptop, maybe it might not run that well. Like, I don't know, because I'm on the PS4. But let's get back to the build. It has so much stuff in it now, and like, I'll just list off the rooms. There's only like really 4 rooms, but I think it's still excellent. So it has a kids playroom, because like in the university trailer, there's a lady that has a toddler, and it's like, there's nothing for the toddlers to do in the comments. And like, if you're taking your kid out because you can't get a sitter, you're gonna need something to do. So I built a kids playroom, and then there's a study spot which has like a research and debate bin. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, that room isn't very furnished because I don't care about that, because I never use that skill in the game. And then it has like a logic building room with a microscope and like chess table and stuff like that. And then it has a robotics lab. And I know that every time someone rebuilds Larry's Lagoon, they always add the robotics lab, because EA catfished us with that trailer, as Plumbella would say. So it's like, I rebuilt the robotics lab mainly because the sim I am going to be playing in my Let's Play he's an artist, but he is taking the robotics degree, mainly because I've never played Foxbury before. I've only ever played Britechester because I went to an art school, and I'm trying to recreate that experience. Just kidding, that experience was awful. Hopefully my Sims can have a better time. I will go into that more later as the video goes on. But the robotics lab is my favorite room in the entire build. But I will get to it when I get to it. Anyways, since this video is so long, I'm going to be switching from talking about the build to talking about my own school experience, and I'm also probably just gonna cut it off and replace it with music sometimes, just because I can't even talk for 20 minutes straight. Wait, no, I stream, but when I'm streaming I can take breaks because I can make the excuse, oh, I'm focusing on the game right now, I don't have to talk. Anyways, but any empty silence will be filled with audio, copyright free. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so the exterior of this build I'll start with. I like how it looks a lot. I you can see me comparing it to the builds, the shell builds around the campus, and I noticed that it didn't have, the one before, it didn't have any plants on it. And if you look around campus, pretty much every building has plants on it. So I added plants on the exterior, you can see that. And then also, after I put down the main structure, I was very content with how it looked. But I do change it slightly, a bunch. And I also struggled there for a while. I'm not sure if it happens now or if it happens in a bit, but I tried to add a sunroof to the top of that because I wanted it to have a sunroof. But then if I put a sunroof on it, it would clip off the sides. I don't even know how to explain it, but I ended up completely ditching that roof anyways towards the end of the build, but that will come in its own time. Then I tried to adjust the the roof, so it was more dynamic, but then I looked at the other builds and it's none of those roofs are super flashy and all over the place other than the dorms, but that's because I edited the dorms to look like that. I have an incomplete speed build for the dorms, but I didn't record furnishing the inside. And also here you can see these goddamn windows giving me so much trouble. I also wanted to put a half wall there, but I ended up replacing it with a fence from, I think, Get Together. Oh yeah, the thing about this build is I've been up all night, but I tried, at least for the building structure itself, I tried to just use University and the base game. Because, if you don't have all the packs, my other build, I used every single pack I had at the time. And if you only have base game and University, a lot of this stuff, including the stairs, is unavailable. So I tried to make every build item entirely University, but because it's for my save, I don't really focus too heavily on that. But here you can see me starting to do the floor plan at night because I don't know why the windows were like that. Just those windows, because I switched them out towards the end of the build because I got sick of it. I thought, oh well, I'll furnish it and the glare will be fine, but no, it didn't improve, it got worse. So I switched those out, so I don't know why it's just those tall windows, but they're awful. And then here you can see me figuring out the floor plan. This video was originally going to be a two-parter, but I decided, no, that doesn't really work. Because I couldn't find a clear cut in between the two. And also, I don't know how interesting it is to watch someone build the exterior and then figure out the floor plan. So it's I can bunch them all into one. That would be interesting, maybe. I'd watch it. Am I going to watch this back? Probably not, because I've just spent the past 8 hours with this whole thing, so it's nah. And I say 8 hours, even though earlier I said it only took 4 hours to build, and that's because I would stop to take a break, because I can't do anything for 4 hours straight. But here you can see me trying to add a wheelchair ramp. I know your Sims can't have physical disabilities, but I wanted to have that extra little bit of inclusion, just because university campuses, not the art school I went to, but some campuses do have wheelchair accessible places for people with like physical disabilities, because you don't just need a wheelchair to take the ramps, but like I don't know why it was giving me such trouble, and then I figured out a way to do it. But then I tried to add a fence to the landscape and to like sort of box it in. This comes way later. But then I just got rid of the roof, and I told myself, remember to put the wheelchair ramp back. Guess what I forgot to do? So, see, it kept disappearing like every time I did something. So I struggled with it, but if you guys want me to have, like, if you want the wheelchair ramp back, because it's not functional, it's just like a roof piece. But if you do want it back, I can add it. But the build's already on the gallery, so I'd have to update it. Speaking of, my gallery ID is Newt Beta. Maybe I'll put that in the bio if you wanted to play on this build. It's like pretty much everything essential is university or base game, and then like decorations and stuff are, my bone's cracking really loud, are like the packs that I have. I also added that column. I can't remember if I got rid of it or can't remember if I got rid of it or not, but I did want it up there because I thought it would look funny. But then I also wanted to see how it would look from the map view, but I can't remember if I put it back. But the exterior, I think I finalized it already actually, so old news. But the roof, it's like, the exterior is just never entertaining to me. And I wanted to add columns up the sides so it would match the bottom part, but didn't really work because, like, oh, here you can see me trying to do the sunroof, but the columns didn't work because they don't lower, they only go higher. So I end up, like, way later, I end up putting flagpoles and sizing them up. They're from Get Together to sort of disguise how the columns look. Because, like, I keep the columns, but then I add something so the tops are covered. I'm not really good at doing roofs, so, like, modern builds and roofs I'm not good at, so I tried my best. But yeah, here I am fixing that weird, like, window issue, because you could see the tops and the bottoms, and I didn't want to add any of the trim because I thought that might ruin how it looks a bit. But yeah, so here I am finalizing the floor plan. I decided after I added the windows there that I wanted this to be the robotic station, so here you can see me putting stuff in. I also put in like placeholder items so I can get a clear image in my head of what I wanted each room to be. And like, I think it came out alright. Like, I love the robotics lab. At first I was like, oh, how am I gonna do the robotics lab? This is kind of stupid. But then after I got into the groove of it, I was like, this is my favorite room in the entire build. If I was real, I would spend all my time in there. But like, oh, a funny thing that happened when I was recording the footage, the something footage, the footage at the end of the video, Lilith Pleasant stole one of the decoration items, so I had to go into my last save point, which was before she got to the venue, and then quickly record everything, because she stole one of the decorations, and like, you wouldn't even notice it was gone, because you couldn't even tell that it was there before, but I noticed it was gone, and it was really bothering me. But I got the bathroom done right away, just because I thought it would be the most boring part, and it was. I struggle with the mirrors because I wanted it to be. My original intention was to have it be like primarily base game and I almost said city living, base game and university, but like both of them don't really have the best mirrors. I was also going to do like the cool back mirrors, but couldn't really tell if it would be functional. Like, would the mirrors affect the sinks? I don't know, but I didn't want to risk it because I didn't want to play test it. Like, I knew the bathrooms would work with regular mirrors, like regular face mirrors, but I didn't know. But I ended up finding some base game mirrors that look really cool. See, those ones. I'm going to use those ones a lot from now on because it's like they're perfect. Yeah, perfect for this. Sorry if you can hear my chair cracking. But I figure out the floor plan some more. And that tiny little room back there originally starts out as a gym, but then I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because both those schools have sports teams that are like really prominent, and like with a lot of post-secondary institutions, sports are like super prominent and they're like the thing. So I switched it up for the arts base just because like Foxbury isn't the art school, it's the technical school. So I decided something. I'm starting to lose focus of what I was talking about. But no, yeah, I put the art area there just because it's like smaller room for the less prominent subjects that people go there to study. So it's like my Sim's going to be spending a lot of time in there because he doesn't want to go to Foxbury, but you'll find that out when the Let's Play happens. But here I add a bamboo tree. That sounded like a song, but I really like how it looks. I think it looks awesome. It does clip, but just ignore it. There's a lot of stuff in this world you should ignore. Not in real life, but in The Sims, because it's impossible to get around Foxbury. Like, there's so many stairs in your Sim. If they have a bike, they have to get off the bike to go down the stairs. So it's like a lot of walking. I don't know how I'm going to cope with having my Sim live in the dorms and then have to get to class on time because the campus is gigantic and there's a bunch of stairs, and I know he can't get physically exerted from that, but like it can take him forever to do it. But here I add a what is that? It's like a weird telescope room because I like to imagine that using that's kind of risky because it's like an X-ray machine, but it's not. So it's like you use it back there so you don't get the other students covered in radiation or whatever. But here I add a pond because the original build had ponds on it, and I was like, oh, that looks very nice. And I'm comparing the exterior to the rest of the map. Like, I'm really glad I did that because when I built it the first time, I didn't do that at all, and it kind of looked stupid towards the end of it. Like, maybe I'll do a comparison. Like, I don't know if it would be like a comparison video or whatever, but between the last Larry's Lagoon I made and then this one, because this one is like way better. It's like the original Larry's Lagoon is me in high school and this one's me now. Just kidding, it's the other way around. Actually, well, I don't know, but it's like it's not the greatest. But then I tried to move the wheelchair ramp, but it doesn't let me, so I have to do that. And then I struggled with like the height, and then I realized it doesn't matter because it's not usable anyway. So I'm probably gonna add it back in for my save purposes because I just wanted it to be there because my own university, when I went to art school, it didn't have a wheelchair ramp and it was mostly stairs. And it's like, I know that there's no, like, there might not be students with wheelchairs, but there are students that have other, like, physical disabilities, and maybe you can't see them, but they're still there. So, add a freaking wheelchair ramp or something for them. So it's like, I don't know. But I wanted it there, and I'll probably add it back. But after I am done recording this voiceover, I am just going to ignore this build because my Sim is still in high school and he's still a good ways away from becoming a young adult and going to uni. So I'll just ignore that for the time being. Maybe I'll work on Britechester next, but will I record any of it? I don't know. But I add those shrubs to the top of the school, but not the commons, but then I shrink them down because they look better shrunk. But the rest of the builds had them, and if you notice like any extended pauses, that's where I stop recording and take a break and then come back. So it's like kind of long in between them. And I was also because I was recording for so long, I would stop to watch. I wouldn't stop. I would watch YouTube videos while recording, and I started with Plumbella videos, as I do. Then I somehow made it onto Oprah's YouTube channel, and I just spent the longest time watching them. But there you could see the wheelchair ramp disappeared. But I would stop because I was watching Oprah, and I'd stop and I'd be like, oh my god. Or I'd just get really absorbed and I'd be like, oh shit, I'm building. I didn't swear. Like, oh snap, I'm building something. Sorry about that, my dogs were barking, so I went upstairs to go see what they were barking at. But the roof changes a lot, but as I was saying, weird pauses are because I was getting distracted by what I was watching, so it's like, I can't just spend 4 hours completely focused on The Sims. I have to occupy my mind with something else. And I do that when I play, like, pretty much all the time. I'll just have, like, something running in the background. When I'm building, Simlessy videos will be in the background. When I'm doing, oh my god, the train's going by. But when I'm doing, like, gameplay stuff, I'll watch little Simsy videos in the background. But here you can see me figuring out the roof. I actually like how it came out, like the flagpoles being there. I think they look very nice. But you can see Maritime Manor in the background. I renovated it. I wouldn't say I rebuilt it. I did gut the inside and then redo the floor plan, but the outside stayed exactly the same. But here you can see me changing that weird center roof bit, and I make it into another little green area because, yes. And then I finish landscaping, and then I move on to the interior. But, like, I really like how the landscaping came out. And I hate landscaping. I will say this in every video where I do, like, where I have to do landscaping, but I hate doing landscaping. It's like, I like building apartments because I don't have to landscape. It's like any outdoor area, I don't know what I'm doing. But for this build, I actually really like how it came out. And laying down walls, well, walls are a different story, but, like, laying down fences on PS4 is just so tedious. It's like click and drag, and, well, not click and drag, like press X and then drag and then press B because you messed up the first time. But I really like how it came out. That's really all I can say about it. It's like weird. There's, like, I forgot to put more plants in at the back, so there's, like, a weird discoloration around where the building is, but oh well. But there I add plant bushes because the plant bushes are on the other building, so I'm like, this would look good here. And I think it did. I really like how it came out. Like, I think the build is just really nice. But then, like, the space, I had, like, a spacing issue, so go back and fix that up a bit. But you know, you can't even notice unless you're really looking at it, so just ignore it. It's fine. It doesn't exist. But that's where I stopped because I watched one of those videos. Like, I had to stop and watch, and I was like, wow, amazing. But then, for the landscaping, I don't know why I thought, well, the reason the game lags is because of landscape. It's like, that's probably not why. It's probably because all the skill building items I have in there. But yeah, and that's where the footage cut in half because I stopped. I spent like an hour. I went for a walk, and then I had some food, made some tea, and then I came back to it like an hour later. So that's why the footage cut off so dramatically. But here I'm doing the floor plan and redoing the lights because I didn't like how, like, I didn't really have them placed before. I just had, like, random lights shot about. But then I finished up some of the issues with the outside, but then it's like, that's pretty much it. The outside's done. But I think I will talk about my uni experience. And I only went to uni for 1 year, and I flunked out of it. Don't do that, it's really bad. But the only reason I have is online schooling felt like it was optional, So I treated school like it was optional. That sounded like a Kanye West verse, no. But it's like, I kind of regret it, but also you think after wishing to go to art school, and this particular art school for the past 7 years, I would have enjoyed my time there more, but I didn't. I didn't find it all that great. Which is weird, because I really wanted to go there for so long. And that's one of those weird pauses where I put on another Oprah video, and that one was more intense than the other one, and I was like, whoa. Because this is sped up, like, pretty fast, so that was a good, like, minute where I just sat there watching the video, but I didn't want there to be too much tables and chairs, just because if all, like, unlikely, but if all the Sims sat down, it would get really congested, and you'd have to spend a lot of time waiting for Sims to walk around. I didn't want to do that, so there, like in the downstairs, I put a living room sort of area, but then I move it upstairs to that empty, like, balcony area. I think it looks good there. Sorry about the yawn, I'm very tired. Like, after I'm done recording this and it's uploaded, I'm going to bed. And then I'll probably wake up on my birthday, because I either sleep for 2 hours or 16 hours, and lately it's been 16 hours and in the middle of the day. It's kind of annoying, but... So, I was going to have that room be the ping pong table room, but then I changed it for, like, the research and debate area. It's because it's a cool tower, so I didn't want it to be just for a ping pong table. But I think it looks alright. But I wanted to finish one room at a time, but then I realized that really wasn't, like, an option, so I would do one room for as long as I could handle doing that room, and then when I got sick of it, I would do another room, and then that's just kind of how it went. I put those curtains down to, like, hopefully, I really hoped it would help with the brightness issue, but it just didn't, so I ended up switching out some of the windows upstairs for those windows that I use downstairs, and I like how they look better, so happy. So, yeah, just happy. So it's like, it's probably good that the other windows were super bright, but it's like a minor bug, and people, like, from what I've learned, people don't really build with the tallest wall height, and when they do, they don't really use those windows, so I don't know if that's, like, something that'll be fixed, but I really hope it does get fixed, because if the window options for the tallest roof options were, like, better, I think people would build with tall roof, ceiling option, wall options, goodness. But here I am getting started on the robotics lab. You can kind of tell that I didn't like how it looked at first. It's like, I was getting kind of bored of it, but then here I move the living room back, but I do the robotics station, and then I stop, and then I go back, and then I finish it. And then it's like my favorite room in the entire build, and I can't get enough of working on it, but oh well. I noticed that it became a bit too lived in, and my excuse for that is that room is like the bot Sabin's headquarters, so they spent all their time in there, so it's very cluttered. But for the build, before I, like, really get into how everything, like, looks and stuff, I'm just gonna say that the common areas are kind of empty. Also, I forget to paint that half wall, so I do it off camera, but the common areas are kind of empty. But that's because I think I view it as, like, the school's like, okay, so you guys can have your areas, like your gym and your library-ish and your robotics lab, be clean, like, customized to you, but it has to be clean. But then the common areas where new students and parents will see on, like, school tours, it has to be pretty generic. That's the excuse I'm using for not wanting to try to find a personality for the school. Like, I wanted to go out all out with lobster stuff, and I was thinking about using some of the Brindleton Bay stuff, but then it's like, that's not a lobster, that's a crab. Tea time. I've had 4 cups of tea, and that's pretty impressive for me because I can usually have 2 before I start getting sick of how it tastes. But here I am putting together the robotics lab again. It's it's a lot of this build, and the chihuahuas were barking again, but they're fine. They're chihuahuas. They like to bark. If they hear a tree fall down in a forest 600 kilometers away, they'll start barking. But anyways, I think I was talking about tea last, and that's kind of irrelevant, so I'm not going to talk about it. But in the robotics lab, I add the Bot Sabins poster because I like to imagine that. Well, when I was building this, I imagined that is where they're sort of headquartered. That's their headquarters. I don't know. That's where they're based. But here is the logic building area. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't want to call it a library because it only had. I don't even think it came with a bookshelf. It might have come with one, but I like to imagine that the sims that are in there just like focused on the more like memory part of, I don't even know what to call it, logic and skill building, while the people in the bots in like the robotics lab are super loud and just, they're like, in here they have classical music playing, and in the next room they have like metal music playing. But I don't have Nifty Knit, and so they're not listening to metal music, they're listening to Simlish MCR, the not sim cover. Sim cover? Because I think it was still the band, but, well, Gerard, but the train is back. The train's like, I know you're recording, and I'm going to be loud. But no. It used to be bad for when I'd stream, because it's like my mic can pick up stuff pretty well, I think, and the train would just be super loud, and for like five solid minutes, and that happened a lot while I was streaming, especially in the wintertime. But anyways, here I am working on the art room, and then I moved that to the downstairs because it's like I said earlier, Foxbury has a sports team, and from my experience in like high school, I didn't have this experience in university because I went to an art school, but sports kind of gets more, well, sports definitely gets more recognition than art, or at least it didn't when I went to high school. It's like, when I went to a traditional high school, that was, wow, 7 years ago. 7 years ago in October. Oh my god, I'm getting old. But that was 7 years ago. No, I'm lying. That was 6 years ago. That's slightly less bad. No? Wait, 4 years ago. Okay, now I feel better about myself. Because I was like, I got to high school when I was 14, and then I left when I was 17. So, yeah, 4 years ago. Because, well, I'm 21 now, but in 12 hours I'll be 22. But the art class was sort of, like, I was really good in art class. Like, I was grade A student, and my art teacher, like, she trusted me. Well, it felt like it. It wasn't like those, like, perks of being a wallflower type of relationship, but she was my favorite teacher. And I was more open with her than I was with my other teachers. And it's like, she told me that the school cut the art budget in half halfway through the first semester in high school. Like, the first semester of the year, they cut the budget in half so they could put it towards the school's football team. And it's like, the football team, unless you were a player, a friend of one of the players, or, family of one of the players, you didn't really care about the football team, at least in my school, because in Canada, or at least in my experience, the hockey team gets more recognition than the football team. So they put most of the art school, like, they put half of the art budget to the football team. And it's like, when she told me that, I was super pissed, and she was super pissed, but there's nothing she could do about it. So all the supplies that she bought, she was paying for out of pocket, because the budget was, like, she put the budget towards the school trip we did to tour the art school in my province, which is the one I ended up going to. But yeah, it was like the arts is like back burner compared to sports. But especially here in Foxbury, because Foxbury is a technical school and the art degrees aren't distinguished, but I still felt like it did need a art area, not just for my Let's Play, but just in general, because it's not a it's not a distinguished degree, but it is a degree. So, and here's the gym, because my Sim's going to spend a lot of time here, and if there is gym equipment, he can work out. But, like I said earlier, sports team, they get a nice gigantic room for their gym. But I wanted to figure out what to do with this entrance area, but I decided to leave it a bit empty. Like, it's not completely empty, there's stuff in there, but I didn't want it to be too busy. Not just because aesthetically, if it's too cluttered, it might look off-putting to future students. But also because, oh my god, they're barking again. Wow. No. But because Sims, like the Sims themselves in the game, I don't want them to get too congested, because that happened with my my elixirs and brews build that I did. They would get stuck in the door, and then they'd get stuck in the back door because they would use the back door because the front door was stuck. So then it's like the bar was popping, but Sims couldn't walk around. And here is the cafeteria area. I didn't really do my standard back-in area to like bars and stuff because I didn't have the space for it. And like, you think with a gigantic build like this, I would have made space for it, but I didn't. So it doesn't have any counters or a cool fridge. But oh no, I didn't add any of the get to work fridges. It's not really a good vending machine. It only has like a sandwich and I think just like sandwiches and stuff, but it's still a cool little slice of realism. Like my dorm builds, I add the get to work vending machines. I wish I had Snowy Escape for the vending machines, but that's like, I can't buy any more Sims packs for my PS4, so I won't know what those are like until I move to PC, and that's not going to be for a while. So, and like, I think I might stick to the PS4 for a while. It's just what I'm used to, and the whole idea of transitioning to mouse and keyboard's kind of terrifying. It's like, I play Apex Legends a lot. Well, not as much as I used to, but I've been playing controller for so long that when I had the opportunity and I tried to play with mouse and keyboard, I couldn't do it because I was like, what is this? But then one of my favorite streamers, she was like, you should really try to play with mouse and keyboard, because even if Apex as a game dies, you'll still have the mouse and keyboard, abilities. But here I am adjusting the robotics lab. I add that big center table in the middle because I put on other videos of people renovating Larry's Lagoon just for like motivation to finish it, because I was in the final stretch at this point and I was like, okay, I can do it. I just can't give up. So I put on other videos, and then I can't remember who it was, but they used those counters in their robotics lab. But their counters were like pushed up against the wall, and I was like, you know what? I'll use those counters, but I'll use them as an island. And what's weird is that I recognized those counters the second that I saw them. Like, I didn't even see the details in the front. I just saw the top, and I was like, those are the counters you unlock in the chef career. I have never played with the chef career, so it's like, I don't know how I knew that, but I did, and I'm glad because I really like how that looks. Because it's like, when I was in high school and we didn't have wood shop, we had plastics class where we like melted plastic and stuff like that. It was a weird class. The instructor was a weird guy, but we had these gigantic work tables because I guess our school got like a budget increase just overall. Not for the arts department, but for everything else. So everything was like renovated and updated and modern. It's like, high school was a miserable experience, but it was a really pretty school. Anyways, we had those gigantic work tables, so I added one of them in there. But it does take up a lot of space, but I'm kind of glad it takes off a lot of space because before the middle was empty. But in the gym, I add some towels because I don't know. I just assumed that's something that would be there. I was thinking about adding showers, but then I decided against it because I didn't know where I would put them because I already finalized the floor plan. And I intended for the gym to be significantly smaller than it ended up being, so. Their dorms aren't very far away. Maritime Manor is just like a good, like maybe 5-minute walk away. They can go home and shower, it's fine. But I can't remember what happens here. I think I was just looking through like clutter and stuff just to find stuff to put around, but you can see that the robotics lab kind of got overwhelmed with clutter, but I really like how it looks, like awesome. But then as soon as I saw the science table in the kids section, I was like, I need to put a child's playroom here, because if you're in uni, if you're in uni and you're a parent, you can't keep your eye on your child all the time. I'm from New York. I have 4 roommates. 3 of them are rats. I just turned Australian. No. We eat pizza for dinner every night. Anyways, but you can't keep your eye on them every single second. So, it's like a play area where you know they're safe, where they can work on their homework or make potions or whatever. I also added a lounge chair there so they can nap, because it's like, I don't know. I think it would be fun. I don't even know if kids can use the lounge chair. I hope they can. But here I think of more stuff to add. I think I keep that there. But then I add these Foxbury flag stuffs. And it's like, you're spending a lot of time here. Wouldn't it be fun to go to this school when you're adult, just like your parent or your caregiver? And it's like, that's tiny pop propaganda. But I don't know. I think it looks cool. I also add a bunch of cloud decals, but I don't do anything about the trim that's leaking through to the inside, so that's just kind of there. But I like how it looks. I tried earlier to figure out how to get rid of the trim. I also think about covering it with plants, but none of it sticks. I just live with it. You're not even going to see it if you're playing with this build. But I really like how this little room came out. I think it's cute. But a funny thing is that when I was recording the footage for it, I noticed a sim walk out of the building. Walk out of that, walk out of that room. And I was like, what? And I go into the room, and her homework was on the desk, and it's like, okay, there's all this beautiful sitting area, and these cool desks, and stuff like that. And they chose to go work in the child's room. It's like, okay. But my sim, I rebuilt her house, and I gave her a really nice place, really nice bedroom, but the most expensive bed. And she tried to sleep in her son's bed, and her son had the uncomfortable bed. So Sims aren't the smartest, but they sure are funny. But I do some outdoor sitting areas. I don't like how it looks. I don't like doing patios. Would this be a patio? No, that would be a balcony. I don't like doing balconies because I never know what to put there. But then I added that tiny gardening box because it's I don't know if there is a gardening class, but I know there's art classes, and the art students are like, it sucks that we get such a tiny room in the commons, and the garden students are like, you guys get a room? We get a little planter box on the balcony, and that's at the back of the building. But it's I don't know. I don't even think there's a garden in. There might be. And I'm just not paying attention, but I didn't know what to put for rugs. I looked for a while. I didn't like any of them, and then I settled on that one. But then the flooring was a big issue, and I tried to do it at the beginning of the build, but then I was like, this isn't working out. I'll just decide after I'm done. I also wanted to put rugs, but then I didn't like how it looked. And then I imagined that the land grabs probably wouldn't like how it looked, because Foxbury was funded 50 in-game years ago by the land grabs. So it's they want it to look very pretty. The commons area to look really nice, but not too nice. Not too expensive, because this is their money going into it. But they don't want it to be cheap looking, so I kept no carpets. Just floors. I think it's tiles and masonry, masonry, but this is like that's where the research computers are. I think there's regular computers in there as well. This build has a lot of computers, and that's because last time I renovated Larry's Lagoon, I only had 4 computers in there, and they were all busy. And it's like, my sim in that save didn't have a portable laptop. He was very poor, so he couldn't get any work done because all the computers were busy. So he had to go to Willow Creek because the library here was also super busy. And it's like, everybody wants a computer. And it's funny because some of the pre-made sims using the computers brought out laptops before. But it's like, none of my business, whatever. But I noticed, that was my bones cracking. I noticed how empty like the walls were, so I think it's city living, like the weird pillar, like wall pillar things, and I add those to the walls to sort of take up some of the space. Yeah, those things. I don't know what they're called, but I think they add to it. I think they look nice. But at this point, I had been building for a good chunk of time, and I was really tired, so I was just kind of looking through the catalog like, I've never seen this before. That's a lie. I did see those. I've seen pretty much everything in this building, in the catalog before, but, then I figure out the back area, and we're coming up on the end of the build. Not quite yet, but I've spent the past 47 minutes just talking, and last build I did, I think the build was like 22 minutes long, maybe, and recording the voiceover for that was awful. I couldn't think of anything to talk about, and I was sort of rushing myself because I was like, well, I can't not talk about anything interesting, but I couldn't think of anything interesting to talk about. But for this one, I just kind of went with the flow, tried to stay on topic towards like school and stuff, but I only went to university for 1 year, and it was online, so I couldn't really pull from my own university experiences. So yeah, no. Then I added a back area so it looks better, but here we are at the end of the build. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.